Hello, YouTube. This is 21st Century Lady. Also, my name is Hannah Lassiter if you do not know that. Welcome to my channel if you are new. Please make sure you like and subscribe because you would want to keep coming back. In this video, I'm going to do quite a few things, starting with my Iyanla Vanzant Acts of Faith book. So, a story time behind this is this summer I got to see Iyanla Vanzant live. Some people call her Iyanla Vanzant, but if I'm correct, I remember her saying that the way you pronounce her name is Iyanla Vanzant. So that's what I am going to refer to her as. So this summer I got to see her live and in Houston, Texas when I was staying there with my father. I do not live in Houston, Texas, or I do not originate from Houston, Texas, but I got to see her in Houston, Texas because my father lives in Houston, Texas, and I went to stay with him. So when I saw her, I really right now at this time in my life cannot remember what she talked about, but we all know that Iyanla Vanzant brings greatness. She she pretty much is a very great author. She's a great speaker. She's like I don't know if you would call her a therapist or counselor, but she has her own TV show by the name of I can't even remember the name of the TV show right now. Please forgive me for my mind going blank, but I know she has her own TV show on Oprah's channel, and many of us watch her show. I'm pretty sure that there's someone that will see this video who knows her show. So if you know her and you know her work, it was a really great event, and it was a lifetime experience for me. I actually have like one or two pictures that I've put on social media that I took at the event. And pretty much her poster is like in the background of that picture. So I have her book, which I got at the event, and I actually got some other things that she was selling at the time. She was selling T-shirts. She was selling I think I brought her T-shirt. I brought her book, and she also had some body wash, which I've already finished using now, but she her body wash she actually makes herself, so it was actually made by her, by all kind of herbs and black soap, but it was really really great, the body wash, which I have finished using right now or by now. So anyways, I want to read this. This is actually not following today's date. Today's date, of course, is October 28th, but this reading, which when I read devotionals that have like every day of the year, I do not necessarily stay on day. Like it could be today's day and I'd be reading in January or February. I just read according to how I want to read it and where I'm at that time. So today's date for this devotional that stood out to me is May 27th. And a longer story is I have my own podcast that is named after my business, the MR podcast, which MR stands for Mentorship Revolution. And on my podcast on Sunday, I always do Super Soul Sundays messages, which like I just talk about anything that's like good for the soul or anything that is always uplifting, is always like it's always hearty. It's kind of like, you know how you read a scripture, it's always things that are good and uplifting that I try to talk about. So yesterday I talked about peace and how a lot of times there's a reason why we see that there's not everyone is struggling with peace, but whenever we all have had issues with like happiness or accepting ourselves. So really all of that deals with struggling with peace and struggling with being content with where we are at this time in our lives. And there's always something that we're not happy about, or maybe we want it to be better or we want to fix it instead of us just learning to be grateful in the moment. So that's dealing with peace. So if you want to read that, you can visit www.mentorshiprevolution.com, which is my website, and you can see all the other Super Soul Sundays I've published previously if you want to. So for this reading, I'm going to read from Iyanla Vanzant's Acts of Faith book. No one can give you wisdom. You must discover it for yourself on the journey through life. which no one can take for you. Sun Bear. There are so many wonderful secrets and sciences in the world we can use as tools to better our lives. Some of them have been hidden from us, others we have flatly rejected. We have rejected our own culture and traditions. Yet without investigation, we accept the world of others as truth. When we close any portion of our minds, we close off a part of the world. Is it fear that keeps us locked in? Is it hopelessness or is it stubbornness? How can the descendants of genius be so close to new information? How can the children of the first civilization be lost and hopeless? What will it take before we open our hearts and minds to the world that awaits us? What would our ancestors think if they saw us lost and struggling, unable to do so with much more than they had? Today I will open myself to another part of the world. Do you have an open mind ready to welcome new knowledge? What would you like to learn and how can you begin? Now, you all, I know I just finished reading this, but I actually recognized that I read the wrong devotional, but hopefully you enjoyed that. So really what she does is she starts with a quote that's related to like the theme or what she's going to go on to like talk about in the devotional. Then is like the full of the devotional, which usually can be almost at the length of a paragraph or two. And then she has like an affirmation at the end. And then she has a reflection. And the reflection was when I read, do you have an open mind, ready to welcome new knowledge? What would you like to learn and how can you begin? So the devotional that I actually meant to read was May 26th, and this is relating to what I talked about yesterday on my Super Soul Sunday about peace. Everything that has happened had to happen. Everything that must happen cannot be stopped. Wayne Dyer. Everything that we experience, everything we think, feel, and do is in divine order. It is part of the universal flow that helps us discover who we are. If our thoughts and emotions did not manifest as actions, how else would we see who we are? The world is not happening to us. We are happening to it. We are molding it, shaping it, creating the good and the bad. Sooner or later, we will get tired of what we are doing and we'll do something else. When we get tired of hate, we will stop living in fear. When we get tired of injustice, we will stop judging one another. When we get tired of violence, we will stop aggression in all forms. When we get rid of criticism, cynicism, and victimization, we will live in truth, take responsibility for what we do, and stop blaming each other. When we get sick and tired of the chaos in the world, perhaps we will begin to love our brother as we love ourselves. This is the affirmation. I happen to be creating a better world. I want to repeat this because I'm big on affirmations. I happen to be creating a better world. The reflection is, what would you most like to change in the world? What would you most like to change in yourself? So you guys, I actually didn't, if I'm correct, I didn't see this. Did I see this yesterday? Okay. So what I want to say was about this was when I read this devotional, which it wasn't before I published my podcast. So when the thoughts came to me, and I always feel like God inspires me when I create those Super Soul Sundays, it's always something that's like relating to my walk at that time. It's not just completely made up fiction. So when I published that podcast, and actually the podcast was related to the Super Soul Sunday message, I read this devotional after I had already published that. And they actually connected in what they were trying to convey. And it's amazing to me that what she said, if you want to say she said it better, was actually very much related to what I was saying about peace. And I think what's even more amazing is she didn't use the word peace, but all of her explanation was really all trying to reinforce that we should, want more peace. So, like, for example, I'm going to point out a few things that she said. She talked about how our thoughts and emotions manifest our actions. So you know how they say what you think you do, what you do, you becomes a habit. What becomes a habit becomes the person, and this, and that. Excuse me. So what she's really saying is that our thoughts and emotions are, some people say don't let your thoughts be who you are, which is true that our thoughts are not who we are and our emotions are not who we are, because our identity is much more than that. But it's amazing that there's a lot of connection to what we think, do, and say. So I think we should treat our thoughts and emotions much more importantly, because that's creating the person that we are. So you know how they say if you're a negative thinker, you're going to be a negative person, and if you're a positive thinker, you're going to be a positive person. But she also talked about how when we get tired of hate, we will stop living in fear. When we get tired of injustice, we will stop judging one another. When we get tired of violence, we will stop aggression. So pretty much the point is we have to look out in the world today, and when we see all these things happening to us and around us, maybe in families, maybe in communities, we can't just say we don't know where these things are coming from, because these things are kind of working, as she said, by divine order. So we have to all get back to being accountable for who we are, the effect that we have, and we have to come back to our power, but in the right way, and not the way that's creating a poor reality. So this was just one of the first things that I wanted to do in this video. Secondly, I wanted to review a certain snack that I have started to become a fan of lately. The name of this is and I'm very new to this snack. I have not always known this, so it's a very special review. The name of this snack is Sahale Snacks, which it is maple pecans glazed mix. In case you can't read those words very well, in this mix you have walnuts, apples, cherries, and cinnamon. So let me read what's on the bag. It started with Mom's delicious warm pecan pie. Those comforting flavors are perfectly captured in our blend, which also includes dried cherries and apples, all delicately glazed with maple and cinnamon. Beyond ordinary. Snack batter promise. So the even more cooler fact about these pecan mix is that it is certified gluten free, is no artificial flavors, no artificial colors, no preservatives. And Sahel snacks are crafted in Seattle, Washington, using thoughtfully sourced ingredients. We hope they inspire you to live adventurously and savor every moment in life. So what I'm going to do in this video is I actually am going to create like a certain kind of prep where I let me talk further about this. For me, if I was to start eating these right now, I could just eat these straight out the pack, right? But what I want to do is I have Ziploc bags, and I actually want to sort, because I want to create it where like I can eat them at different snack times, instead of, say, if I eat them straight out the bag, I would eat them a lot sooner, but I want to actually make this into like a snack that I can eat over time. So I am going to do that in this video. It's just something to do because actually I'm doing a review on this, but I have to tell you, these right here are like the best as far as a snack. Like if I really could let go of all the other candies and other snacks out there, I would always choose this one, because as you see, it's healthy pretty much. If you want to say it's healthy, it's pretty much organic, it's all natural, and it's walnuts, so like you're not going wrong with the calories. So that's part of what I wanted to also do in this video. So let me go on and elaborate further. I told you that I was big on affirmations, and I don't want to make this video too long, so I may have to kind of make like a two parts, which I'm going to do that. I'll be right back.